Thank you so much. Thanks for HashKey for organizing such a wonderful festival. It's always good to be back to Hong Kong. I come here every year, and it's really a good opportunity to kind of meet some wonderful panelists, the thought leaders in this space, and also I think the market is really picking up. So it's great to see so many turnout for the Web3 festival. I think first of all, let's go around the panel for a quick introduction among the panelists. So maybe I'll start first. So I'm Emma. I'm the moderator. I'm the founding partner, managing partner of Long Hash Ventures. We're a Singapore-based global VC fund. Have been in the space since late 2017. Invested in more than 100 portfolio companies, include some of the household names like Polkadot, Asta, Manta, most recently Neutron, Saga. So yeah, have been super excited to placing bets in this space. I'll pass over to Rena.
Hi, my name is Rena Shah, and I'm with Trust Machines. We are a Bitcoin product studios who build real-world products on Bitcoin. We are a core contributor of the Stacks ecosystem, which is a Bitcoin L2. And I've been building on Bitcoin for about 10, maybe 15 years. I started off as a Bitcoin miner in the US in 2012 and worked with a lot of oil companies to help them diversify their strategy to mine Bitcoin. And after leaving oil, I went to Binance, where I was the COO of Binance US.
Hi everyone. My name is Hannah Yang. I'm the co-founder of the Tap Layer. I get into the crypto area since 2017. I was a founding partner with some a public chain, and also involved a lot on the NFT and DeFi. And also I'm a big believer of the Bitcoin, and we believe we want the Tap Layer want to release the Bitcoin potential, and also we are focused on the Bitcoin native assets, for example, the BRC20, and also we try to release their potential into the all kind of Bitcoin ecosystem, and also the other layer too. So yeah, that's what we do.
Hello, my name is Blue. I'm CTO of Slowmist. We are an auditor firm. We audited a lot of projects, such as centralized exchanges, DeFi protocols, and public chains. We also provide some service and products like Slowmist AML. Yeah, that's all.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Jan Kamenisch. I'm the CTO at the Definity Foundation. The Definity Foundation is like a major contributor to the Internet Computer Protocol, which on the one hand is like a layer 1 blockchain, so you can host smart contracts that are way more powerful than anywhere else. You can do front ends, back ends, like everything on chain. But the Internet Computer Protocol is also like a layer 2 to Bitcoin, because like it integrates the Bitcoin network directly, so smart contracts can read securely transactions from the Bitcoin blockchain. They can also hold Bitcoin directly with like threshold crypto, and there's also like write to the Bitcoin blockchain, so it actually adds smart contract to the Bitcoin network.
Wonderful. And thank you guys for staying for the last panel of the day. I think the first question I had for the panelists is, every cycle in crypto, there's new topic. I think BTC L2 is definitely one of the big narrative and big ecosystem that's developing and shaping up this cycle, right? However, in many people's mind, it still remains as a sector that's pretty uncertain because of a lot of people, the narrative that's associated with Bitcoin has always been the digital gold, right? So you want to do as little as possible, keep it secure in your cold wallet, whereas Ethereum is the settlement layer. So now it seems like we're trying to do a lot more, bring smart contract capabilities, bring layer 2s to Bitcoin. So there's a lot of controversies around this. So just kind of want to understand from the panelists, right? How do you guys think about this emerging trend, and what are you building in this space? And why do you think it's necessary to have a Bitcoin layer 2? Whoever wants to take it, feel free to jump in. Maybe Rena?
So I'll kick it off. Bitcoin is the first reason why we all came into this industry in the first place. And if you think about the value of BTC as an asset, that is $1.3 trillion. But it is just latent capital that is not being deployed in the ecosystem whatsoever. If you were to maybe compare this to Ethereum, Ethereum is about $400 billion for Ether, just the asset, but the value attributed to the Ethereum ecosystem is 52 billion. So think about L2s, stablecoins, DeFi, NFTs. If we applied that to Bitcoin, we would be a 200, 300 billion ecosystem easily on top with value created. That transforms Bitcoin from a passive asset to a productive asset. And I think there's real opportunity to use the secure base layer and build on top of it.
Thank you, Rena. You guys are truly one of the OGs. I think probably one of the first projects to building Bitcoin.
Stacks has been building on Bitcoin since 2017, and it is. We have seen this vision from the start. We've always believed that Satoshi wanted layers on top of Bitcoin to recycle Bitcoin security and capital so that you can have innovation on the L2.
Yeah, maybe I take the next. Yeah, I'm really agree with Arena because if we call back to 2017, before the ETH actually grows like that right now, actually everyone was thinking to how to improve on Bitcoin. And I think probably that Bitcoin is everyone, why they get into the crypto side. And also some people even thinking, I really remember when we first met Vitaly, invite him into Wanxiang blockchain, and people thinking maybe insurance just a side chain for Bitcoin, right? I'm pretty sure right now it's totally different, but I think it's another time to why people start to talking about Bitcoin. But we all know that the principle for Bitcoin is the high security, large market cap, and also the consensus is really important. So right now, most of the layer 2 is still, but how to keep that simple and the principle. So for Bitcoin, it's still just more on the value storage and also for, I think still for the asset issuance. But if you want to do some really complicated integration, that's why we need layer 2. And that's a lot of people was thinking how to take the consensus and leverage the security with the layer 1. And really exciting to see a lot of layer 2 start to program on here. That's my point.
Thanks, Hannah. Blue, do you want to take it further?
Okay, I think at first Bitcoin is much more value than other blockchain assets. But every 4 years, we mine less than before, especially half less than before. So we should find how to earn more assets and money from this blockchain. So I think this is the main reason, because a lot of BTC Layer 2 and BTC mainnet is very secure and stable. So and it's very slow. Yeah. So we can't do DeFi and other things on mainnet. So I think Layer 2 is reasonable. Okay.
Awesome.
Right. So I guess in my view, actually having a layer 2 on Bitcoin is like much more attractive or more valuable than Ethereum. And you see, like on Ethereum, I mean, in some sense, Ethereum is like a more powerful blockchain than Bitcoin. That might be a pro, but I think it's actually a disadvantage because it still doesn't scale enough. So it's still all this layer 2, and it's unclear what you do on Bitcoin, what not. What you do on Ethereum and whatnot. Whereas on Bitcoin, it's very clear, right? Bitcoin stores Bitcoin, and well, now with Ordinal, we have to extend that. But so that's actually very powerful. It's still proof of work, which like it's much harder to change history. Whereas like proof of stake on Ethereum is sort of went down in some way the wrong path, and that's also like why with the Internet Computer we have actually first integrated with the Bitcoin network and actually have added, have nodes on the Internet Computer that also are nodes on the Bitcoin network. So that's why then smart contracts actually get all these transactions. They can own Bitcoin. So that's, I think, much more promising. Rather add more functionality, something that like Bitcoin that is valuable, and it also can have more impact there than in Ethereum, where there's like a lot of layer 2s. It's not clear who does what. It's like a very complex infrastructure, and everybody tries to add something, but that also, if all these layer 2s that can't really interoperate, whereas on Bitcoin you can add like much more power there and profit from the I mean, as previous speaker said, from the load, the value that is there, from the security that is there. So I think it's way more attractive actually than on Ethereum.
Yeah, thank you for summarizing that. I was gonna say, right, sounds like from all the panelists basically converging and why we need a BTC layer 2. One, it's one of the largest asset class within crypto. Secondly is the I guess everyone is relentlessly pursue the utmost security, right? That's driving for that. And I think you also mentioned a really good point, Yang, which is fragmented liquidity in the Ethereum ecosystem today. And I definitely want to go there because I feel we're still in the early days of Bitcoin layer 2, but we've already seen quite a number of them emerging, right? So it seems like we may very well go down that path of fragmented liquidity as well. You know, what we've seen in the Bitcoin, Ethereum ecosystem, right? You have layer 2s, we've seen some layer 3s, right? Interoperability becomes a big question, UX, UI become a big question. Do you think Bitcoin, as Bitcoin layer 2 proliferate, that might become a problem? And how do we actually solve for that? So maybe we can start with Yang.
Sure, I mean, I think, as you say, like in Ethereum, that was sort of like a bit of a dead end, but you can also see that people now recognize that you want to build applications that are actually cross-chain, that are multi-chain applications, and also that's like why on the Internet Computer or at the Divinity Foundation, we work on like what we call chain fusion, such that like one smart contract on the Internet Computer can like work across any blockchain. So we have like what we call chain key signature. So that means like a smart contract can actually have a public key, can have a Bitcoin public key, can have an Ethereum public key. So right now we have like threshold UCGSA, we will have threshold Schnorr in the summer. So you can really like write to any blockchain. And conversely, we also will enable that the smart contract can read. As I said before, we've integrated with the Bitcoin network. We'll do that with other networks. And I think that will just remove that sort of competition between all the layers too, because then you have like one place where you can write smart contracts that can really deal with all the different front ends. So hopefully, I guess we're not making the same mistakes like with Bitcoin layer 2 that we maybe had with like Ethereum L2s, but it will be like a more like a universe where interoperability is really key, and I guess that's what we're working towards, making sure that we can read, like smart contracts can read and write, we can have front ends on the Internet Computer that can deal with any other chain. And so have like a, like a very prosperous future where we share liquidity. It doesn't really matter where your tokens are. You can write your smart contracts like anywhere, move tokens around freely, and make it life much easier for developers.
So in other words, what Divinity is working on is essentially wanting to become that interoperable kind of layer for Bitcoin.
Yeah, very much, because like I guess the Internet Computer is like the architecture is a bit different from other blockchains. Like like we have threshold crypto. Like for every what we call subnet has their own like public key, and they can sign with respect to that. And also means like smart contracts get their own public key. They can sign with respect to that. And so now you can write smart contracts that like read some Ethereum event. Once this Ethereum event does something, they can write Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network, and just replace like Bitcoin and Ethereum with any other chain you want to elect. So that's our goal, really. So that it doesn't really matter where liquidity is, where tokens are. Make your choices. If you want to have a Bitcoin, or even a ETH, or if you want to have Solana token somewhere, it shouldn't really matter, right? You build your application and don't have to worry about that. It's just like like a different argument to your function call, whether you want to have Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other blockchain, really.
That's super interesting. So maybe we can go to other panelists. Do you guys have anything you want to share regarding UX, UI, or fragmentation?
So I would start with Bitcoin UX has been pretty terrible from the get-go. It's no secret that if you were building on Bitcoin maybe 15 years ago, you were using Bitcoin script, which is not intuitive for anybody. And lo and behold, you would be using Bitcoin script right now if you were still building on Bitcoin. I think a lot of L2s like ICP and what we're doing at Stacks are trying to reimagine Bitcoin to be more developer friendly and more consumer friendly. Stacks is taking the approach of building a virtual machine that operates fully 100% recycling the hash power of Bitcoin so that anyone can recycle Bitcoin capital and use that as their security. A lot of other approaches are available, but I think at the end of the day, however you're choosing to build on Bitcoin, you need something that's interoperable, but still maintains the peg of one-to-one with Bitcoin on Stacks versus Bitcoin on Near or Bitcoin on Solana. You need that trust minimized to trustless bridge to deploy the capital is the most important part.
That's really cool. Hannah, do you want to share any perspective on this?
Yeah, from my perspective, because why we're doing the tap layer is we want, I think the most important thing between why we call those are Bitcoin layer 2, that somehow you need to have some like data or stat sequencing with the Bitcoin layer 1, right? But right now most of most of the layer 2 they are maybe it's not actually rolling up anything with the Bitcoin layer 1, and probably they still figure out what's the solution to do that. But that's very important. It's not saying like how much TVL you have on your chain, and I think that's definitely will have something different than the EVM or Cosmos right now, and that's definitely need a lot of work on that, and especially I definitely a lot of infrastructure need because we all know that it's difficult to write a smart contract on Bitcoin, and but how to leverage your smart contract, like programming smart contract or modular smart contract to the result could be communicated or the status could be communicated sequentially with the Bitcoin layer 1. I think that's a really important thing, and I think everything is from there, and then we could talk more about like how we build the ecosystem on top of that. I think the most I'm looking forward probably is that maybe DeFi, because we could see there already have some like native Bitcoin asset, like for example like RD or Unisat like happens on the Bitcoin, but because they will. They need some infrastructure to helping them to exposure to more different layer 2. There could be Solana, could be Base, could be or EVM, could be others. But why it's so difficult? There are a lot of infrastructure needs. I think if we want to grow the Bitcoin ecosystem, probably need more focus on there, and also that will definitely improve the liquidity for the Bitcoin ecosystem. That's my output sense.
I don't know if Blue, you want to share anything on this topic?
I don't know how to solve this problem about fragmentation. I think maybe time will solve the problem, because after a long time, I think maybe only several projects, only several layer 2 will be left, because we don't need those so many projects and so many chains. Only, I think after a long time, I think only several. So the problem will be solved automatically, I think.
Hopefully. But that's what we said about the Ethereum ecosystem. Now look at how many layer 2s are being launched. So yeah, that's an interesting challenge. I want to go to the topic about developer, right? For any ecosystems to kind of prosper, you need a very vibrant developer ecosystem, right? And I think for Bitcoin developer, the core dev, right, has been known to be quite risk adverse, right? Because everyone's so kind of security concerned, right? Any upgrades or fork takes, years of discussion, years of alignment. So how do you guys see how do we solve for the developer problem in the Bitcoin ecosystem or Bitcoin layer 2 ecosystem, given you guys are building in this space or auditing contracts in this space? Do you see a rapid uptick in terms of talents, developers coming to this, or do you see a challenge? How do you guys think about it? Blue, do you want to, Yang?
A few minutes. Okay, sure. So I think at the end of the day, if you want to make developers' lives easy, then you have to make it easy for them to onboard users, right? So it's at the end of the day, like if a user can't get, if a developer can't get users to their applications, then it's very hard for them, right? And I think there's like two aspects there, and we've already talked a bit about bridges, right? So if, I mean, we have to get rid of bridges because bridges is the thing that gets hacked, that puts blockchain in the press all the time. This gets hacked, this gets hacked, this gets hacked, and as a user, that scares you away, right? So I guess that's also why we've done like direct integration of the two networks. I think the second part is really like usability, user interfaces. Like if I tell my family, hey, why don't you buy some Bitcoin or some ICP and so on and so forth, they get scared because like, oh, there's this seed phrase kind of stuff, right? And nobody can deal with that, right? It's already hard to deal with like professionals like we are with all these seed phrases, and so we have to get rid of that, right? And that's like here also why, and that's why at the Dfinity Foundation we have built like a blueprint wallet. It's like a browser-based only wallet where you can actually hold ETH and Bitcoin and so on, and it's like, well, I guess let me shill it a bit. Here it's like oisy.com, OISY.com. It's like the prototype of this wallet. And so what this means is like you can, like all you need is a browser. You enter the URL. That's actually the URL of a smart contract on the internet computer, and that smart contract, like with threshold crypt, and so will then manage the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, the keys for you. And in order to authenticate, you just can use your passkey on your phone, right? It's as simple as using any other application on your phone. I think that's where, as a industry, we need to go, right? If we need to give developers the tools that they can build applications that users can just use with your browser, securely authenticate with your passkeys. If they have to store seed phrases or anything like that, it's just like a nightmare, right? And so that's really where we need to go, and that's where also like at the Dfinity Foundation, we want to contribute to the Intercomputer Protocol, to Bitcoin at the end of the day with integration, that's possible very easily.
Do you have an estimate of how many developers are currently building in Bitcoin space, like applications, layer 2s?
Not on top of my head. I guess Lomesh is sitting in the audience. He's our growth guy. He would know that much better. But we certainly see an uptake. We had like a Bitcoin startup day last year where there was already like something like 50, and this year we did it again, and it was like a couple of hundreds already. So I think it's really, you see uptake here. You see that people get excited about like a new, Bitcoin L2 is really like a new field. And I mean, also I guess in ICP in general, we see like a lot of developer uptake, even like last year through the bear market, and much more so now with the bull market kicking in.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think
I think as a BTC holder, we don't like to move our assets every day. I think so. At first, we should care about security issue. We must solve the security problems. So the solution, I think, I talked with a lot of BTC Layer 2. We also audited a lot of some Layer 2. I think usually we can transfer the Bitcoin to an address via OP return script, and the BTC never transfer to other chains. So you locked it on mainnet. So then you can get some wrapped BTC on layer 2. So it's a good solution because you never lose your Bitcoin. So on layer 2, we can do a lot of things like DeFi protocol, like loan and swap and other things. We can get a lot of interest. I think it's a good way. About for developers, I think competition is very important. I think because we don't like to use different languages. We should we don't like to learn new languages. So it's easier to use Solidity or other language to write DeFi on BTC Layer 2. So I think a lot of public chain, they for now, we never heard them because they use a lot of very strange language. It's very hard to use it. So I like competition. Yes.
I think that's the strong preference from smart contract auditor, right?
Yeah.
No new language, just something proven, well tested.
Keep simple. Keep the same like before. It's more secure and more simple. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Rena obviously have something to share because I think Stacks might have its own separate language.
Stacks uses its own language. It's called Clarity. It's a didactable language. It's very similar to Lisp or Rust if you're a developer. And we prefer having our own language because as you are going through runtime testing, you can see all the syntax errors in real time before you have to deploy the code. So it's a little bit of a safer environment. But to your point, I do believe that you have to expand to other languages, especially for auditing companies and such.
Yeah.
And so one of our big initiatives is we're launching WASM technology, so you can develop on Bitcoin through Solidity or through Rust and still deploy on Stacks because it's a virtual machine. So I think that is the real key for developer adoption, is to have that type of technology. There is a great company in the ecosystem called Hero who builds developer tools specifically just for Bitcoin so that anybody can deploy smart contracts on Bitcoin. And then going back to maybe the consumer side of like how to bring developers in, you do need good UX, but I would say even some of the more degen-like experiences are what is needed for Bitcoin, for people to want to build on Bitcoin. So until a year ago, no one wanted to build on Bitcoin until you saw of ordinals and high-value settlement of an NFT to basically break Bitcoin main chain. We're seeing that again through BRC20s, and in 2 weeks, we will likely break Bitcoin on the L1 through runes with the new inscription standard or token standard coming to Bitcoin. So what I would say is that the more degen-like approaches that come to Bitcoin, the more the developer experience is actually going to get better because people want to do things with their Bitcoin.
Yeah, after Rina, I totally agree. I think because I'm not the tech founder, but I want to add different angle from the community. Because we all know that why Bitcoin, we have this Bitcoin ecosystem that all from the inscription and also BRT20. And why they will start have the layer 2? Because people see their opportunity and see the big community, and they see what's the power from the bottom up and what's the fair launch. So because have those like the rich in fact, so that's why people will get in. So actually, I'm still really worried about the technology side, because if people making money from there, that a lot of people will get in, and I don't think the developer doesn't want to learn new language just if they could make money from there. So that's my point. And also, I was thinking there were another important thing is still we could see the power community, how the people who doesn't know tech very well, but could join this community. That's really important. It doesn't really matter what kind of language you use, but it definitely need, there was some like still that how to have the maybe better way to do the bridge or Oracle or price feed, or also the data sequencing. I think those we definitely need to use maybe some new technology to do that. Also, I definitely believe all the developer, if this ecosystem is real and have a lot of huge market cap, and people will get in. That's my point.
I like the spectrum of opinions of the panel, right? Because we've got, I think, Blue coming from the kind of smart contract auditor perspective is like, you know, we want EVM compatibility, something that's tested and proven. But then from the layer 2s that are developing new language, I think we're seeing, you know, as long as there's new use cases that's being developed, right? Perhaps there will be demand for new assets, and that's will drive the developer activities to learn about new contract language. So I can see I guess the rationale behind the different opinions here. And just now, Rena was talking about some of the new things that were emerging in Bitcoin ecosystem, such as, I think, ordinals, right? BRC twinning, inscription, and those, I think, drove a lot of hype and activity and attention to the Bitcoin ecosystem. So just wonder, a lot of those innovations happened in the base layer. Do we see those move to layer 2 because of scalability issue, cost issue? Yeah, what are some of the trends you guys are seeing in terms of use cases migrating from base case to layer 2?
So I would say that ordinals really kicked off the activity of I want to do more with my Bitcoin, and it created block space war that as you made an inscription every time you're writing into the Bitcoin block, and that block space became more valuable and basically created demand wars. Now, if you want this to scale to, let's say, 1 billion people, you cannot use the L1. The L1 has to stay for high value settlement. And so you have to bring these transactions to the L2. Stacks is already seeing this with ordinals on the inscription side, that you want to make the parent inscription on the L1 and then do the child recursive inscriptions on the L2, because then you can deploy or airdrop a Bitcoin secured NFT to 1 million people with a very cheap transaction fee that is scalable and fast. I don't think that you can really do true Bitcoin DeFi activity on the L1 because, quite frankly, you're limited with 10-minute block times. But when you bring it to an L2, you can have a wider range of activities, whether it's AMMs or perp dexes or meme coins. You don't care, but all of this, the L2s are built for that. It's especially why Stacks is going through a hard fork in 10 days' time that brings block times down from 10 to 30 minutes because we're tied to the Bitcoin main chain block to 5 seconds, meaning you will achieve Bitcoin finality after that block settles, which means it's very secure. In order to reorg Stacks, you have to reorg Bitcoin, and 51% of the entire Bitcoin network is too expensive for people to hack. And so the more and more you see these L2 activities, the more and more you can build real world use cases that should have always been on Bitcoin. I think a good example would be like RWAs. There is no point for an RWA to be on Ethereum when you could use the most secure base layer and then scale it to the L2.
So security is really the outmost kind of...
Security, but I think even like transaction throughput, you could never do 1 million transactions on the Bitcoin network. Miners could not accommodate that, but on L2s, you absolutely can and you should.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think my point is I think for the base layer 1 is still more vulnerable for the asset issuance. So if you want to have a vulnerable asset, you better storage on the base layer 1. But how you actually take the utility from that? And then I think that's also the advantage of the layer 2. And they could play like DeFi, or maybe later on could be even SocialFi, those things on it's happen on the layer 2. I think that totally makes sense. But if you build an existing, I think still you need to consider like what's the community was thinking. It's because right now I think most of the layer 2 they could easily to support if the asset already have a big market cap. But for example, Ordi or SET, I think most of the layer 2 could support it. But there was still a lot of the new asset, maybe they only have a small market cap, but they have their own community. But those assets will be really, right now, recently, it's very difficult to like be launched on any other DeFi protocol because they are too small, so they have a lot of security problem. So that's why I think still like very early. We need to fix it. Some problem. It's just like the middle layer. How to connect it with the base 1 and the layer and all kind of different layer 2. I think that's a problem we need to like solve it. Yeah, that's my point.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay, about encryption, I think for now, encryption is more centralized because the centralized service records the information because we can't store this much more information on mainnet OP return. So I think it's not very like blockchain. It's not very decentralized. So I think maybe if we move this encryption to layer 2, maybe we can solve this problem. But in other hand, we can build a smart contract on layer 2. So maybe we don't need encryption. And about security, I think because about security and the speed and gas fee cost, maybe on layer 2, we can do much better than on encryption. Yeah.
Awesome. Before I go to Jan, I think the last question for the panel is, given we have, I don't know, about 50 people who stayed until the end of the day, so I think they deserve some perks. So can each panelist think about one alpha to share in the Bitcoin layer 2 or Bitcoin ecosystem, so that we can wrap up with the day. But Jan, go for over to you.
Sure, thank you. So I guess I agree with like most of what was said, right? I mean, I guess on the layer 2, like, I mean, first thing, what we did after we had like integrated with the Bitcoin network and had smart contracts who could hold Bitcoin, it was all obviously, well, now what do you do it, right, with it? So you want to have like benefit from the speed and the throughput of the layer 2, right? And so we've built what we call CKBTC, which is really like a Bitcoin twin on the inner computer, so that benefits from the like 1 second finality, from the tens of thousands of transactions you can do on the inner computer, right? So obviously, I totally agree with that. So that's why we've built CKBTC. But I think the second thing is also like scalability, right? So now, and what Blue has mentioned about storage and so on and so forth, like, fully agree with that as well. And that's also why we're like working hard at Dfinity to like make smart contracts scalable in all directions, vertical and horizontally. Like a smart contract like on the network, on the internet computer network, can hold like 400 gigabytes of data, which is mind-blowing if you compare that to like 4 kilobyte on Ethereum, and at a fraction of a cost, right? I mean, it's like $5 per gigabyte per year, something like that. But not only that, you can also, if that's not good enough, you go just to like another subnet and can scale horizontally very easily as well, right? And you can orchestrate that. So as a developer, if you want to scale up your application, just do more smart contracts. It scales very easily, and there's actually some of the scaling is actually even automatic. So again, so really can scale up Bitcoin to really sky is the limit here.
Yeah, when there's a will, there's a way, right? So when there's enough incentivization, I think it will happen. So who is ready for the alpha so we can wrap up the day?
Okay.
Silence.
Okay, you want to start?
Yeah, maybe I go first. So today is the Bitcoin panel, so we more focus on the Bitcoin alpha. So here first, I want to say our tap layer is going to have some big market movement next month. So because right now we will service a lot of BRC20 project, and also we help leverage a lot of the Bitcoin layer 2 and having them to do the data service. So we knowing some of the BRC20 projects going to have some DeFi activity on the layer 2 soon. So that's things we could keep an eye on. And also, I want to say is the Bitcoin, I think the order, because I was talking about a lot with the community, so I know actually the community still have a lot of the new immigration on how to play with the community. And the next move probably will leverage with some some layer 2 will have a big airdrop. And also, I think the next move, the most, the killing apps probably will be still in the Bitcoin itself, like how to use the USDT to directly exchange or trade the Bitcoin. I think that's the big opportunity, and that will totally change the or the ecosystem and everything for now. And also after the Bitcoin ETF pass and after the next horizon, definitely Bitcoin need to figure out how, especially for the Bitcoin miner, and especially for someone if they don't trust the centralized exchange, so you will be, all the eyes will be on that part, decentralized trading Bitcoin. So that's my alpha. Thank you.
I feel Hannah is very generous. She shared more than one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep ours somewhat simple. Runes are coming in 8 days, 9 days during Bitcoin halving. Runes will break the L1. There will be so much degenerate activity that you're going to have to look at an L2. There are a lot of Bitcoin L2s out there, but very few will hit the $100 billion market cap and plus. Most will be in the tens, billions, and that's it. But only one, maybe two, if we're lucky, will emerge to the 100 billion. Stacks is the only L2 that has proven its consensus mechanism in building in the bear for many years, and is the only L2 that allows a direct Bitcoin yield. I would think that if I was going to build something directly on Bitcoin, I would want to build with a protocol that has incentivized Bitcoin in the first place that offers a yield.
Very cool.
Okay, yes, I disagree with Rena here. Obviously, people should come and build an ICP. We have like full-blown ordinals marketplaces already. We have stable coins that are Bitcoin collateralized. We have like lending platforms on Bitcoin. The network is live since almost 3 years now. Never has been down. Is blowing, like scaling out as fast as it can. It's a merry family anyways, and so come building, happy to support you with grants, whatever you need, with technical expertise. So come and build and join the family.
Whenever there's controversy, there's opportunity. So, Blue, last one. What are you bullish on in the Bitcoin ecosystem?
I don't know. I think just keep Bitcoin, and when the price is go down, we can buy more.
Buy more. I love that. Thank you so much for your time, and really thank you for staying for the last panel of the day. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the festival. Thank you.